For close on 50 years, Albania was the European country no one knew anything about, thanks to the policies of its ruthless Stalinist dictator Enver Hoxha, who cut his Balkan nation off from the rest of the world. He even built 1 million pillboxes to protect Albania from a perceived invasion. I was the first television news correspondent to be allowed to film in the country before communism collapsed, and was horrified at what I encountered.
Excitement at the mere sight of a visitor. Others can only stare in sheer disbelief. For these are Albania's forgotten children, victims of a ruthless communist dictatorship that deemed they should be kept out of sight and out of mind. We accepted the invitation to step inside, quite unprepared for what lay on the other side of the door. The matron called this the sitting room. But there are no seats. Every day for 12 hours, these children, many suffering from severe mental handicaps, are left on the bare stone floors. There's nothing. No toys, no books, not even paint on the walls. Hygiene is non-existent. Some have open wounds, but there's no ointment and no bandages to treat them. Some have serious infections, but there are no medicines. Others are simply too weak to care. The toilets don't work, there's no disinfectant. The nurses have to double as cleaners. With no change of clothing, even the smallest have to sit hours covered in their own excrement. The daily wash itself is a painful experience. The showers are inoperative, and no one can remember the last time there was either hot water or a bar of soap. The staff are dedicated and caring. Look how the children respond, they said, given just a little love and attention. But we must have help.
Our great desire is to get the outside world to help us for the sake of God. These children depend entirely on us, but we have nothing. The world must do something.
At least there's something more substantial to eat this week after the British-based Feed the Children charity reached Shkodra with an emergency food run. But downstairs in the bedrooms, we found other children too sick to eat, lying helplessly in rusted cots which had no blankets. Most of these children have been abandoned by their parents. The hospital, the staff say, abandoned by the state. Democracy has changed nothing. There are no medicines, no drugs, and not a single politician has dared enter these doors since the hospital opened 18 years ago.
The situations you describe are not unfamiliar to me, and they are, for my government, we feel ashamed when we know that we have such a situation, our people are living in such conditions. But you have also to understand, or one has to understand, that this government cannot cure this situation again overnight.
But until their government's sympathy is translated into action, or unless the world intervenes, these children and thousands like them will continue to suffer. Bill Hamilton, BBC News, Shkodra.
The rush to the ports became unstoppable, ships overrun by frenzied refugees, babies fighting for life in deprived hospitals, 6 newly born sharing one incubator, bread factories in chaos, children going to school through a hole in the wall, with boilers reserved for the coldest winter days. Children shiver in whatever clothes they can muster. The transformation begins, digging trenches, installing electricity in the mountains where schools are in a desperate state. Getting there is by a tortuous route. Nothing less than a 4x4 can negotiate the rough mountain passes with their steep, unforgiving gradients and huge potholes. In the winter months, the road is rendered impassable. But with Adra's Hashmet Biba at the wheel, experience and resourcefulness are sure to get us to Vrap, a a village 2,200 feet up in the mountains. We have come to see the realization of a mission that has been years in the making. Besides taking in spectacular views, there are other obstacles in our path. In Albania, you can never tell what's round the next bend. The Adventist Development and Relief Agency's lorry has arrived ahead of us, and the children of Vrap excitedly get to work unloading all the equipment which will help them achieve a long-held dream of a school completely rebuilt and fit for the task. Everywhere, excited voices, as furniture of every shape and size are carefully manoeuvred into the 3 renovated classrooms. All this made possible through the efforts of the former ADRA Trans-Europe Director John Arthur and his supporters, plus donations I've received from various speaking engagements across the UK. Members of the Boxmoor WI knitted beanie hats to help keep out the cold. This girl's little sister seemed more than delighted. The thirst for learning was quite apparent, as we discovered quickly in the elementary maths class. So grateful is everyone here that the school has now been renamed as the John Arthur School, in gratitude to its principal donor and his friends who live in the Scottish town of Crieff. Headmaster Arben Costa explained to the pupils all about his remarkable fundraising achievements. With the emphasis on hygiene, new toilets have been installed. Wood-burning boilers also a welcome acquisition. Outside, more good news for the children, whose ages range from 5 to 16. For the first time, they'll have a form of uniform suited to their surroundings. Red sleeveless tops, complete with rainproof boots. And, wait for it, orange rucksacks. One set for every pupil gratefully received. Everything will now be in place for the start of the new term. And on a day of surprises, the children wanted to express their appreciation in song. For some, it's a 5-mile trek to and from school, but today no one is complaining, thanks to so many generous donors 2,000 miles away in Britain. As they say in Albanian, Faleminderit.